Hello friends, welcome to today's video. So today we'll be discussing the part 2, chapter 1 of the book Marketing and Customer Relation Management. So the chapter 1 of the book discusses about the basics of the CRM and its definition. So CRM in the marketing terms is known as a customer relationship management. So in any business or organization, the key to them is the customer. So how you maintain the relations with your customer is essentially important. So to manage this customer relation management, what you need to have is a definite strategy, and then how you will interact with the customer during the pre-selling and the selling of your products, and of course, and how you use the data of the existing customer so that you can have an effective relationship is what this customer relation management is all about. So in this course, we'll be discussing many aspects of customer relation management. So starting with the definitions of the CRM. So, normally, as we have said, it is all about the management of the customer relationships. So, what we are doing is we are using the customer data and understanding it, and then we are defining the methodology as to how to use the customer data for the long term retention of the customer. So, first important thing is the methodology. What methodology we'll be using is the key point. Next is what are the different softwares that we will use so as to use this customer data, and then how will we maintain it. So this is what is one of the important aspect of CRABs. That is, first is a methodology, second is a software, and then we all know that today businesses are across the globes and across connected through different networks, and then they are connected using internet, and many of the softwares are also working on the internet. So how we use this internet capabilities is all this what is defined under the CRM. If you see from the top, you can see that all these three things they constitute the definition of CRM. So what are the methodologies we'll be using, and the software and the internet, so as to maintain the customer relationships for acquisition, retention, and satisfaction finally. So what does this customer relation management helps? So it's help the organization to manage the customer relationships, as we have said earlier. So moving ahead, what is the goal of the CRM? So first is, of course, any businesses they want to have a long-term growth. So keeping in future in mind, they will always aspire for a long-term growth. So this is one of the goals of CRM. And of course, any business will look for a profitability so as to generate a fair share of revenue. So profitability is also one of the important goals of CRM. So once you are using the CRM effectively, then what it will do is it will maximize the revenue, as I've said, and of course the most important thing, customer satisfaction. Because once the customer is satisfied, then you can retain the customer for a long time, and also he will be loyal to your organization or your products. So customer satisfaction is the key in the customer relation management. So all these things how you can do is by implementing the customer centric processes. So always the customer is the key to your methodology. You are always giving the priority to the customer. Whatever processes you are defining, let's say the process that are using for selling and the marketing, all should be customer centric and not just profit oriented. Of course profit is the key, but then from the CRM perspective we see customer centric process is having the highest priority than the profits. So these are the goals of the CRM, having a long term growth, profitability and revenue, and the customer satisfaction by implementing the customer centric processes. Next, so what are the different types of CRM? We have discussed about the methodologies and the software and the internet capabilities. So now there are different aspects of CRM. Like, first you need to have a strategy as to how you will acquire your customers and how you will maintain them. Second is, while you are interacting with the customer, then that will constitute of your day-to-day processes, and of course, as I've said, using the customer data so that you can maximize the goals of the CRM. So these are the three things. So CRM can be applied in all these three methods. So that is what is the first one is strategic CRM. So strategic CRM will mainly focus on winning and keeping the profitable customers. So these are the key terms. You have to gain new customer, and of course whatever customers you have gained, you have acquired, then you have to retain them. So customer retention is also very important. And one more thing which strategic CRM discusses is about the profitable customer. Not all customers are generating the profits to you. Some of them may be you might be spending more on the those customers than earning profit for them. So there is no point of maintaining a customer relation with the loss making customers. So strategic CRM will focuses on all these important aspects, that is winning, keeping, and of the profitable customers. Next is, as I have said, in the business, day-to-day operations of selling, etc., carry out the operations is what this operational CRM is. So using the automation tools, that is a software, how we can execute this day-to-day operations like selling, marketing, all these things are what the operational CRM constitutes of. Next is third one is analytical CRM. As we have said, the customer related data is essential to understand the customer behavior and to acquire and retain those customers. Now it is the era of the data. Everything is data nowadays. So using the customer data, you can understand the behavior of the customer, what are their purchase preferences, and what are the likes and dislikes. So using that, the data you can analyze. So it's like giving a history of, like, telling about the customer as to what they are their preferences. So that is what the analytical CRM discusses about. So these are the important three types of fundamental CRM. But nowadays, with the evolution of this technologies, with social media, we all know that social media is very powerful, like Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and Instagram, and so many things are there. So nowadays, so many markets are moving towards using the social media as a platform for marketing as well as the CRM purposes. So this we are classifying it as social CRM. It is not a fundamental type of CRM. The fundamental types are the strategical operations and the analytical CRM. With the evolution of this social media, so this can be categorized as a social CRM. So what it does, it uses the social network data. It exploits the social network data for customer management purposes. So taking the data of the customer from the Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and so many things, you can understand the customer behavior. Then how you use that is what social CRM is all about. This is not a fundamental type, but then in future, this is the future, and this is will be in future it will be fundamental also. At present, it is not the fundamental CRM, but then it is important. Next, now we have understood that we have to maintain data about the customer, we have to acquire the customer, and like we have to implement a strategy, execute the day-to-day operations, and then understand the data. So all these things are the CRM. So now there are some myths means which are wrong things about the CRM, which we think are true. We'll discuss. So first one is, it is just a database. See, customer relationship management, of course, it starts with the data. So how we will store the data? Data is always stored in a database. But CRM is not just about the database. Database doesn't define any strategy in the long term. It is just the data. So it is not just a database, because there is a different operational and well as strategical CRM that is involved. So saying that CRM is just a database is a wrong thing. Next, we have said that the customer relation management is, of course, CRM is a part of the marketing. Marketing tools use the CRM, but then this itself is not a marketing. There are also other factors to the CRM. So CRM is not just a marketing process. Next, as we have said, it is a information technology where it uses methodologies, software, and internet capabilities. So we may think that it is just an IT issue. No, IT is all about the data and the machine things. But then if you see, customers are human, and then understanding the human behavior is different from an IT issue. So saying that the CRM is an IT issue is also wrong. Next, you might have all seen that to generate the profits and to acquire the customers, many companies they use the loyalty schemes. Like 1 month, if you see the Amazon, they are having the Prime Day program, or the Amazon Prime feature, or YouTube, if you see they have a YouTube Premium. So these are some of the schemes through which you gain the customer and retain the customer for a long time. But then the CRM is not just about that. There is a whole lot of aspect to it, like maintaining the data and understanding the customer behavior and so many things. So it is not just a loyalty scheme also. And CRM, as I said, it can help to acquire customers and generate profits. So we can think that it can be implemented by any company. For implementation, there are a lot of things. It involves IT, it involves selling, and like so much things are needed, cost is involved, so it just cannot be implemented by any company. There are so many factors that influences this. This is the first chapter, so we are not going into details, but then as we move ahead in this course, we'll be discussing more in detail, and these concepts will be more clear going forward. For the time being, just remember these are some of the myths that are surrounding the CRM. So this is what the definitions and the chapter 1 covers of our book Customer Relation Management. I request you to comment below and give your valuable feedback so that we'll improve our teaching methodology and also we can serve you better. So to purchase this book, the link is given in the description. You can follow the link and then you will know how to purchase the book. So what I want to conclude is all the best for the exam, and then thank you for watching this video.